Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Paranormally Beyond Disclosure. Now, we are a weekly podcast focusing on the paranormal, the supernatural, and the metaphysical. Now, join us for thought-provoking discussions on paranormal phenomena, conspiracies, and all things unexplained as we talk to researchers and investigators about ghosts and hauntings, UFOs and aliens, urban legends, cryptids, and so much more. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow to receive notifications when new content is made available. You can also visit us at www.paranormallypodcast.com for more content and information, including all our social links. I thank you again for watching and or listening, and we hope to see you for the next episode of Paranormally Beyond Disclosure. So grab yourself a drink and a snack. Turn the lights off on the way back. Find yourself a nice comfy spot and enjoy this episode of Paranomaly. Stay with us, folks. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in tonight. We got a great show lined up for you. We have Todd Bates on. This guy here, I'm telling you, he has been dealing with these EVPs forever. And he wants to know as well, where do the voices come from? That is my favorite thing. Now, he's a seasoned paranormal investigator, and he is a specialist when it comes to electronic voice phenomena. Todd, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'd love to. Thanks for having me so much. Oh, it's great to be here. I mean, this EVP has been just a huge passion of mine since probably the early 2000s. It's been a couple decades. You know, I was raised Catholic recently. You know, I mean, it was okay growing up as a kid as a Catholic, but I was shielded from a lot of things. And then when I got older and broke away from it, I started developing this curiosity, watching films that I wasn't supposed to watch, like Star Wars and all these different ones. And I started to use my imagination. Then I started to put two and two together and realize, okay, this is possible. This is something that is possible. The paranormal, the supernatural, absolutely. There was several instances where I could be caught binge watching unsolved mysteries back in the day to find information because there wasn't much about it. It was so taboo. And I came across a local investigation team, and they took me on one of their paranormal tours. It was all over after that. But what's funny about the whole thing is I was going one direction, they went another. They were running towards the old haunted general store. I'm drawn to this barn in the back and jump and sit on an old wood pile and just hang out and do some old recording on an EVP cassette recorder. You know, I mean, it was simple. It was private. And I was just drawn into it, Todd. I just have been going ever since. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Now, did you have like an experience when you was young that set you into this paranormal journey?
No, I have never had. Growing up, let me rephrase that, because there were instances where I saw things growing up as a child. There was something that would used to come in and out of my bedroom, and it was a shadow.
Oh.
And I just figured it was reflection, or, you know, because I was such a skeptic, I'm trying to debunk this because it's the way. And I just came to the conclusion it was just some kind of reflection that would pop up there. It was a little eerie, a little creepy for me at night, but I got through it growing up. Instances like that, I think, regressed a little bit in my mind and then came out later whenever I broke away, whenever I turned 18 and started developing my own foundation. I think that's when everything started to click. It started to make sense to me. So it was almost like getting a fresh start. Uh, and for years, believe it or not, because speaking to the dead is no easy task. For a lot of people out there wanting to get into it, if you're doing it the proper way, it's not easy. You know, you're talking to something or someone who's not there. They're simply not there that you can see. So you're dealing with a lot of different aspects when you're doing these recordings. So they can become pretty obsessive, especially when you're capturing some EVP, some decent ones. You're landing some communications. They're making sense. They're forming words. They're doing, what they're communicating with you. That's what propels you forward. That's what keeps you going. That's your motivation. But by all means, please don't let it consume you, because it can. You can chase this, and take my word for it. And anybody that's followed, me, haunted voices, any of those things, this field can consume you, especially the EVP field, because there's no absolutes, there's no answers. And here you are, you're going through hours of evidence, which, if you're properly analyzing your evidence, it should be hours of evidence and not an hour of evidence. But anyway, you should.
That's right.
take your time and go through these files, because so many things, I get sent some things, Todd, and they get tossed right out to the wayside because you can tell they're ridiculous.
Right.
But there are some that come in that are amazing captures, and they're neglected. They're really not given what they're worth. And the old community, the community I'm used to, would welcome files such as that, and everybody would try and analyze it together. They would jump in and work together as a team. Even you would see research teams working together. You would see them coming together for a case, because it's about the client. I mean,
Right.
there's so many ins and outs to this field. But the communication part, that's what has me stuck. That's why I'm still in it. I'm not into photography. I'll put it up to my ear. I don't know. I'm not into photography, videography, the latest gadgets. I don't have a catalog of model numbers in my head or anything. I'm a simple individual, and I go out there and talk to these spirits with respect. And back in the day, yielded some pretty good results. And I retired back in 2012, but guess who's itching to get back out there? And it's time, because I've learned a lot since then. And there's so much more to learn. We're going to get this, I think. At least a piece of it.
Yes. Now, you mentioned that you've had a mentor. In fact, I've heard your show talking to her, actually. Please tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, Miss Sarah Wilson Estep. She, back when I first got into this, I'm dating myself. I don't care. We had dial-up back then, Todd. It was horrible. And there were email and maybe a few forums or something. Well, I had found Sarah Estep through the AAEVP, the American Association of Electronic Voice Phenomena. I got her emailed her. I said, please help me. I'm new to this field. I'm very curious about speaking to the other side. I have all kinds of questions for them. I'd like to have answered. What are some things I can do? I have a recorder, I have this. And she emailed me back. And then we were emailing back and forth, exchanging information after information. She would type up guides. It was incredible. And she she would talk to him every morning. And she was a little more spirited than I was with hers. She would say quite a bit more. Um, she would talk to them more as if she was talking to her neighbor next door as she's watering her flowers, that kind of thing. She would communicate with them like that. And I was more direct with my questioning, which, there's different ways you can do it. But Sarah, and what a lot of people don't know or understand is she's what helped bring it to the United States and popularize it and expose it for what it is. And she also developed that infamous, wonderful ABC classification system we use. That's all her. And she took me under her wing for several years. And toward the end, she passed away in 2008, but toward the end, she granted me that interview. And she says, Todd, I want to go on there and do radio with you, but I think I can only do it for about 45 minutes. I said, how about 30? She goes, deal. She gets on there and she was super excited, of course. It was a lot of fun. And, sadly she passes, but she left behind so much information, so much history that she left behind, so many different breakthroughs that the foundation discovered, and they grew, they expanded now, I think, into a broader sector of ITC. It's ginormous. I mean, they're doing great things out there.
Now, how many EVPs did she have? I mean, it was thousands.
Oh, her book, Voices of Eternity, or Voices to Eternity, I'm sorry, has the actual amount in there, and certain copies of it come with, used to, and they still they come with a CD disc with all of her EVP on there she captured. So thousands, yeah, because she did it on multiple devices simultaneously. I also have known her to mix the two. She will watch for imagery on a static television set while she's recording. She's made contact with several otherworldly beings, we'll call them. Just some amazing things that woman had done. And a lot of people ask me if I have tried to communicate with her, and I have. She hasn't come through yet. We had a word, and we chose that. It was about probably a couple weeks before that interview. We had chose a word if that had ever happened to either one of us, and we would say that word if we came through. So far, nothing, but it may take a while.
That's right.
It may take some time for them to develop, maybe go through the layers, whatever they have to do to interact with our world. It may take maybe once they leave, it's harder to come back. We don't know. But it would be nice to get in touch with it, really would, just to verify both of our findings, because I know she would be happy as well. But yeah, she's one of a kind. Sarah is.
Yeah, and I mean these people that pioneered this stuff. I mean, clear back, even who was it? Tesla, Edison. Yeah. They all. I think Edison had a spirit something or another. Spirit phone.
Phone to the dead.
Yep.
Phone to the dead.
Tesla had something as well. I can't remember what his device was called. I know you can find it online. If you go looking, you can definitely find it. But
Yeah.
it's incredible that how far back people have been trying to communicate with the dead.
It's insane. I mean, and a lot of it's happened by accident. Your earlier pioneers, for example, Frederick Jurgensen, a Swedish filmmaker. This poor guy, he's simply out in the woods, has his reel-to-reel recorders recording some bird sounds. Hey, John, he's recording some bird sounds, and he listens back to them later on, and it was his mother that was captured on the reel-to-reel recorder. So of course, Jurgensen just goes crazy with everything, and he just dives and puts the rest of his life into EVP research. There's a couple books out there that he has that people they're not even aware of such history when it comes to EVP. Konstantin Raudiv is another one. This is the gentleman that tried putting crystal diodes in there with the machines. This is where the two, the metaphysical and the paranormal, kind of combined a little bit there. He dabbled with that a little bit. And of course, Sarah, there's so many people. Edison was just about there. Just about there. That's the rumor. He almost had it and didn't make it. But people have tried to continue his phone to the dead, and so far, no luck with it. But there's several other, I'm big into communication, Todd, and communication, ITC, EVP, communication. That's what I'm into. Now, I specialize in electronic voice phenomena. That is a separate group of ITC. Those are simply voices that are captured on either magnetic tape or digital recorder. That's an EVP. The things that come out of spirit boxes, those aren't EVP. EVP are captured on a digital recorder or, something of that nature to be classified as an EVP, a voice.
Correct.
Some of those spirit boxes form words because of, fragmented radio stations, what have you, whatever they're scanning. And you just have to be careful with what you're hearing and coinciding. And, because I used to, but I don't now. I don't believe in coincidence. I think everything happens for a reason. But, it's just be careful with both devices. Because, we were talking about it before the show, Todd. Pareidolia is huge. It's a huge villain, I'll say, that's out there. Hi, Amber. And you can sit there and listen, and it's because our brain can only process one thing at a time, basically, when it comes to audio. So that's why when we hear white noise, we hear that constant shh, and when it's thanks, Dan. But whenever you have that constant shh, like so, well, the brain can't process all of those frequencies, so we just hear the one. And you can, if you sit there and listen to white noise, or use that as a background for your recording sessions, which I recommend trying. Just be aware that you will start to begin to try to make sense out of what's coming through there, and it may give you a false positive or two. So just be careful. But with both machines, I'll call them, with the ghost spirit box, with an analog or digital recorder, they're both communication tools. Another one I'll throw in there, Todd, and it creates huge controversy. The Ouija board. It's also a communication tool. If used correctly, it is a good communication tool.
It is correct. Yes.
However, they are abused and and people just don't understand them, and it wreaks havoc. A Ouija can really wreak havoc, but it's a good communication tool, and that's what I try and focus on, because there's so much more out there. Do I want equipment that will help me detect motion? Sure. Do I want equipment that will uh, help me detect temperature changes? Sure, I'd love that. Is it needed for what I do? Not necessarily. I'm communicating using delayed conversations. Now, a full blown investigation, that's different. And I treat those different than I would a normal recording session. When you're dealing with a client interview, for example, that's serious time. You're in someone's home.
Right.
You're not playing around in there.
Right.
So,
There's a big difference between uh, pay to play places and residential business locations.
yeah.
There's a big difference. I don't really know how people get information of any kind at a pay to play place when you got 30 people running around. Now, if you are helping somebody in their home, now you have a lot of stress because you want to, if you're legit, you have a lot of stress because you want to make sure that what you are getting is viable evidence. I always say it's either plausible or possible. That's it.
Correct.
I can't never tell somebody, hey, yeah, your house is haunted. I can't. I could say, look, you got possibly something going on. It's plausible that it could be a spirit, but I will never tell somebody that their house is haunted because now you're dealing with a psychological aspect and you can really mess with people's minds. I've seen it happen many a time.
It's a terrible thing.
Yes.
It's a terrible thing because folks, you need to understand the client. They called you. You're their last resort. You're all they have. They went through everybody else, and they've called you for help. And that is very impactful to a team. It's a lot of responsibility to go into a client's home. A lot of liabilities at stake here. You could scar these individuals, this family for life if this
Yes.
isn't done correctly. So many things. You don't just go in there. You do the legwork on every investigation. I can't stress that enough. You take the hours, you take the legwork it takes to haul the equipment, to set up the equipment, to tear down the equipment. I know you're exhausted. It's been a long night and so forth, but it's important to do everything as a team. Because if not, that's when things just go amok. And I've had to clean up a lot of past client investigations because teams they didn't understand respect. They didn't understand common courtesy, common sense for that matter. They simply went in and with their cameras flashing, blazing, and just left them completely drained of any dignity whatsoever left for this family. And they didn't even disclose any of the evidence. They never talked to them about what could be happening in the home. They simply just went there with their t-shirts or polo shirts or whatever they had. They went there with that, and that's it. No common sense. Took that information from those people and never talked to them again. You don't play like that. A situation like that, I believe, needs closure.
Yes.
Some kind of closure, Todd. You think it's common sense. And I know that it takes a long time to gather a lot of this evidence. Oh my goodness, does it ever? It takes hours, it takes days, it takes weeks, it takes months sometimes,
Absolutely.
repeated investigations. But I promise you, folks, when you get it, you know it. And when you know it, you have it. And it's yours to share and teach others with. Try not to hold it hostage, Don't worry about anybody taking it or anything. And I know that it's hard not to these days. But we don't share like we used to, and I miss that. Evidence, Amber, would be something like an EVP, an audio file. That would be evidence. A photograph, a video. That would be evidence. A voice coming out of a spirit box, not evidence. That a lot of that, a voice on an unanalyzed or undocumented recording, not evidence. Because it's tainted. There's so many false positives you can have in there. You've got to be very, very careful to document, freaking document.
And that, my friend, is where a good investigator comes into play. This is when you're going to know the history of a place, who lived there, who died there. You're going to know all this, because if you do bring out a spirit box, whatever spirit box you decide you're going to use, you can get plausible. You can ask plausible questions and get plausible answers.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that all the time, but that's what you're getting.
Yeah, and you have to say that these days. Unfortunately, it's sad.
But if it can coincide with what you know, and it spits out an answer that it's validating, then you can put it in the plausible pile.
Yeah.
I have probably 10 terabytes of plausible. I probably have 0 of 100% positive proof.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's true. I mean, you collect over the years, and Amber, to get to your question really quick, the voices, they're disembodied voices, electronic voice phenomenon. Those are EVP. They're called EVP for short, and those are disembodied voices. It could be from, let's say, a residual haunting, which may be just a recording that keeps playing itself over and over again. A lot of places with different structures, limestone foundations and things have them. Or it could be what's called a traditional haunting, or intelligent, where they have some sense to them, and they do have intelligence. They've been known to look at you right in the eye, and that happened once. It's creepy, but it's an eye opener. And you have those two different types of hauntings. So those voices can be either or. They can be a spirit, which I believe a spirit knows they've crossed over. They choose to come back and forth as they please. As to where you have a ghost, on the other hand, that is more residual activity, which is not real. It's just a fabric of time, just keeps replaying itself over and over. And a lot of recordings are unintelligent like that, but yet there's others that are intelligent. For example, if you ask, "Can I get your name?" and they say Frank, well, you have a delayed conversation right there. So now you have a name. The odds of that happening are rare, extremely rare on an EVP recording, but it has been known to happen. You do have intelligent responses. So it's a lot of fun, EVP. It's not for everybody, I'll say that. There's a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of analysis, a lot of dotting your I's and crossing your T's. I think Todd will agree, less is more.
Yes.
And it's you don't need everything. I mean, I have the spirit box too, Todd. Mine's the red one like you have. I have one like that. My Sherry got that for me. God love her.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
They're good. They're good little.
they're good little
tools.
boxes.
Yes.
And they're very interesting to work with. Very interesting, because I've had things happen with the spirit box that I can't explain. I can't put a finger on that. But I've had more success with cassette recorders and digital recorders than those.
Yes. And
But
it's
still, oh,
like
they're
my
fun.
favorite is this Sony. I have this Sony recorder
Oh,
that works wonderfully. But if I really want to get technical and I want to be able to hear everything. If I want to hear a mouse pee in the corner, then I'm going to use my Zoom or my
ooh,
Zoom
oh yeah,
so that I can hear everything.
everything. I mean, everything. The radius on those Zooms, it's incredible, and that may be the key. Now, having a device like that in comparison to, let's say, the old Olympus I have or the old RCA recorder I started with, it was metal, folks, metal. And it was an amazing recorder, and I loved it. You can't find them anymore. But the recorders, the different devices, they all go hand in hand. I mean, it's all tongue in cheek, really. Give and take with regarding. Yeah, you can have that. I did, Stan. I did. I'm kind of getting out of my EVP shell. It encaged me forever, Todd. It really did. And I'm expanding, and I've using the spirit box. The Estes method is something you would never see me doing. Now I'm curious about it. I'm very curious about it because I think when I transitioned from haunted voices to EVP explorations, I think a part of me grew the hell up finally and realized that all of these are simply communication tools. And I need to expand my horizon, my experience, my knowledge onto other more, you know, geared toward ITC. But of course, my passion's EVP, but I'd like to dabble more into it and work with people like Austin Maynard and guys like that make some of these spectacular devices. And I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, Austin
And
Austin does come up with some very, very cool stuff. I would love to try them out as well. Uh, but man, I tell you, I'd need to be a millionaire because
yeah,
he always puts up something else, and I'm like, oh, I want that.
yeah, he had one. Austin made one. It was a Darth Vader helmet. I don't know if you saw that one or not. Oh my goodness, I was in love. I said, I want one. He put the price. I'm like, well, not so much. Hi, Taylor. Yeah, I said, no, not so much. But it's people like that keep the motivation in the whole community go forward. They keep it rolling because there's always something new. I just want it to be better. I would like to see the community better than what it is. I'm not saying all kumbaya. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But better as far as sharing, as far as collaborating like we used to. I mean, this community years ago welcomed me when no one else would. No one else would. They welcomed me with open arms. And I came into it. Full run came into this and still here. So stick with it, folks. I mean, if you're new to this field, if you're wanting to come into this field, grab someone that's been through the ropes before. Latch on to them, learn from them, because it's not a place for everybody. And there's a lot of newcomers in that are coming in, uh, not understanding the differences, not understanding the terminology, and so forth. Don't be afraid to ask. Oh my goodness, ask questions, please. That's all this field is questions.
That's
We're
what.
damn good at them.
Yes, and I mean there's a lot of younger people that blow my mind when it comes to their knowledge. I mean, they are very knowledgeable. Uh, but a lot of them, they have that ego thing
Yeah.
because they want the likes and the followers. But like you said, reach out, ask them. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll remember. It'll click into their head. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I was young once too. I didn't know what I was doing. Or find some an older paranormal investigator uh, that is way more willing to show you the whole ropes. They'll show you
Yeah.
everything. If somebody asks me a question, I'm like, well, hey, do you know this too or this? Well, come on, we'll just we'll just go ahead.
Yeah.
So yes, no, you're right. Everybody needs to ask, and that is what has been forgotten.
Yeah.
It's no
And I don't
ask.
know why. I don't know how, Todd. I don't know how it slipped. I don't know how it slipped away. But it
Yes,
did. And that was the hey Rodney. And that was the big glue stick holding us all together. That was
yes,
the just the molding. It was, and you take that part away and we kind of just drained and slipped into our own little tubes. Here we are. And we need to just kind of roll back together. That's all. I
right,
mean, plain and simple, just roll back together. We can do it. There's plenty of us to do it. And the young, I mean, I'm not getting any younger. I'm going to be 52 next month, for crying out loud. I'm not getting any younger. So the next generation coming in, I don't want them to forget about their pioneers, their EVP pioneers, these old methods that work, that we simply just dropped because they weren't feasible anymore. We just dropped them basically and moved on to different methods without fully understanding this one first. And I think that's one big thing we may be missing is we
right.
keep skipping and moving too quick. We're jumping ahead of ourselves. I think we're complicating it. I think the solution is much easier than what we think it is.
I think what happened was people went from simple that works to, hey, let's look at the little lights. I think that's what it was. Well, if the light's blinking, that means there's a ghost. I
Right.
think that it's trying to become more easy, but it will never happen.
No, you gotta look at it this way, everybody. If we were supposed to know, it would be, hey, Teresa, if we were supposed to know, we would be told somehow, right? We're not supposed to know. We're on a very fine line when it comes to this kind of research. And I've talked to several priests about it too, because I felt terrible. And they said it's free will, human curiosity. They gave my blessing and gave me some free holy water on the way out too. So, they understand. And now I understand that it's easier to talk about with other people now than what it used to be. The new generation coming in, I want them to learn about these older methods, take it with them.
Yes.
Um, you know, find some of these veterans out there. I mean, I can be emailed, found on social media all over the place. If anybody has any questions or anything like that, I definitely lend whatever knowledge I have for you to get you started. Yeah, yeah, they do, they do. Those EMF meters, when they go off, they startle you. Just think what it does to the spirit. Yes, yes, Stanley. Yes. Yep. I'll never forget his last name either. It was Fleck. And it was, oh, they're shoveling out there. If you guys hear that in the background, we're recovering from a big snowstorm here.
That's okay. So are we.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We got a lot of snow.
How many inches you end up getting up there?
I really don't know. It's continuously coming down. I know there's got to be 9 inches out there right now.
Yeah, we ended with 12. Yeah, 12, about 30 miles from us. Yeah, fun times. No, but with electronic voice phenomenon itself, the field itself, just be mindful and be respectful. Um, bet you have, Stanley. Oh goodness. No, but there's a time and a place in this field. There really is. And I know these things are extremely important to us, but they're not everything, folks. I mean, try leaving it at home. We didn't have them back in the day, is what I'm saying, and it seems like without the interference from them, we seem to gather more evidence, and we seem to be more focused on the team instead of seeing if anyone liked our post on Facebook. It's about team work when you're out there. It's about team building. Every investigation should be team building for your team as well, because you're just going to yield better results. You really are. The more in tune you are with spirit, with the other side, I feel the better you're going to be.
Right.
And it's a discipline.
And I think that phones can definitely be very useful in the field. These are pocket computers. Okay.
Yep.
You could take notes on them. You can collaborate on them. You can do a lot. You can put apps on them to listen to stuff.
Sure.
The only thing if it comes to apps like ghost apps, there's a couple that I like. One, of course, would be the Hope Spirit Box. Josh Lewis. It is basically a wordless bank, and that is it. It speaks gibberish, complete gibberish.
It's a start.
You can't understand anything, but the spirits, when they want to, they'll manipulate that, and you'll hear it directly, and it blows your mind. But like necrophonic, something like that, I don't put much stock into. A lot of creepy music, things like that. But anything that does wordless bank is definitely for me. There's no words at all. I think I shared on your Facebook there. I had an Ovilus X years
ago.
ago.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I remember those.
And I got so frustrated with that thing, but I had heard there was a story that someone was killed in this lake, and I took the box to that lake, and I sat down, and I'm like, I kind of felt weird because there was a lot of people there, and I'm like, wow, man, I don't want to ask these questions now. So
right.
I kind of just sat on the edge of the line there, the shoreline there, and I started asking questions, and then all of a sudden it started to tell me, I mean, what's the odds? I say, is there anybody here? They're like, yes. And how did you die or whatever? I can't remember what I said. And it was like killed. And I'm like, killed. I was like, just and it found out that this person really was killed. And I was like, dang, it gave me goosebumps. But that's the things that
and like I said, those tools, when there's a time and a place for them. All those tools, like the Ovilus. I remember an old house. We were in Tennessee and doing a client's home there, and I remember using the Ovilus, and it fascinated me. It kind of didn't make sense to me a lot, but then it almost appeared as if it was learning from itself or something. All it is a word dictionary, and it's spitting out random words.
Yes.
But it's when those words are placed, Todd, that, when you throw out a name and you get Courtney, whoa, that grabs your attention.
Yes.
So what I enjoyed with that, and this is hard for me, what I'm working with is real time with those kinds of things. But I'm also focusing on simple electronic voice phenomenon, the
Yeah.
old school way, the long way. And I would like to do this long enough to compare the two and hopefully build a broader spectrum in my mind of when and how any of this communication could happen. I mean, how is this happening? How are we able to hear it on magnetic tape or digital recorder, but we can't hear it with the naked ear? Sure, I understand it's above our hearing level or what have you. Well, how is that tape recorder capturing that sound? Is it through static electricity from the recording heads? Is it the magnetism from it? I don't know. All I know is it sticks to it somehow. And you know as well as I do, as far as analog recording goes, when you have a capture, an EVP capture on an analog device, it's much more profound normally. It's going to be louder, uh, more pronounced. On a digital recorder, that's where we have a lot of our file 36s, Todd. You have a lot of your class Bs and delicate whispers on digital mostly. But a lot of class A's come from magnetic tape. And I've heard a few class A's on digital as well. But I've been doing this for a long time, Todd. And in all the EVP I have one that I would consider a class A. One out of all those. And they're rare.
Yes.
But when you get it, you know you have it. And that just, for me, that seals my inner curiosity of life after death.
Exactly.
That settles myself down, which you newcomers coming in, you'll see the more you get used to these different experiences that you have throughout your paranormal career, you'll see that you develop more and more each time. You don't become as frightened when you see an apparition the second time as you did the first. You see what I mean? It gets easier. So it's just a lot of it's repetition. A lot of it is just constantly going back and forth and back and forth.
So I'm going to see if everybody can hear this. This is some EVPs that I got. It's all from the same clip. In fact, later on, I'll show everybody how I got these clips and how to do it with a simple program like Audacity.
Yeah.
But this one here is these were reversed clips. And they kind of sound like they're kind of reversed and
Reversed.
yeah. So you'll hear this in just a second. Let me know if you can hear it. So those were reversed, and it still blows my mind hearing that because I was not ready for that.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to explain. What I did was, in fact, I'm going to pull this up real quick so we can see. I'm going to present share screen. Okay, so this is just your basic Audacity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a good program. I use PreSonus Studio One is what I usually use for everything. Just because of podcasting, it's just easier for me just to use one program. But
Oh, sure.
with this one, it's going to be just the same. I'll load this clip in here, and then I'll make it bigger because I want everybody to know that this clip it's not by any means edited at all. It was just me looking at this clip. So I'm going to I need to select it. If I can select all. Then I'm going to go to effect, and we are going to go special reverse. So this should be what you hear just normally. Let's see if it's going to go through here. I don't know if you can hear that or not.
A little bit. Yep.
I think what the problem is, hold on one second. I don't think I got it going through the right interface. So it's going to be playback. Yeah, it's going to the wrong thing. So let's go to let's see if this works. Or not. I figured this might be an issue.
Yeah, I know. I have to upload them into StreamYard. It takes MP3s up there now, and then I play them through there because it doesn't seem to broadcast it through.
One more time here. Audio setup. Playback. Let me try this one. Nope, ain't gonna let me. Anyway, it's just a normal run of the mill clip. There's nothing different about this clip at all. Actually, let me do this. This will be easy enough. I think if I save this, I'm going to export. Desktop. All right, let's see if this works.
I'm going to record too.
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
Yes, sir.
Is anyone here?
So this is just the regular clip.
This is the raw clip.
This is the raw clip. And there is a couple of small EVPs in
Here,
there.
take a picture of me like next to the hallway and see if you see anything again.
But, and then if just by clicking the reverse, if I can get it to play. Oh, it might not do because I have it on.
That's the fun part. The reverse meaning. I love those. Yeah, there's so much to the software. Audacity is a great program. It's a powerful little program. It's free. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. And then Cool Edit came out, and I fell in love.
Yes, it is a good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good program.
It does quite a bit. It really does. And the programs do. And again, less is more. I mean, I can't stress that enough with overcorrection and so forth. Keep it as raw as you possibly can.
Right. Can you hear any of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is the clip just reversed. There's the one that was, hey, you help me with my question. And this is just playing normal in reverse.
Wow.
And if I would send that to you, you would find a lot in there.
Yes, sir.
And it's incredible. And I advise everybody that if they are into this electronic voice phenomena, then what they need to do is start playing their clips in reverse. That's just my take on it, because you're going to miss a lot of things if you don't. And you might not get anything in reverse, but
there's that chance. There's that chance. And I wrote a study guide back in 2004 and actually classified a reverse meaning. It's classified as a class X reverse. And those are extremely rare, but they are very possible. And it may have a double reverse meaning. One side has a response and the reverse side has another response to the question. There's been documented cases of that happening. So the reverse meaning, it's almost as if they've found a way or are figuring out a way to piggyback off of our vocal patterns. And that confused me so many years ago. And what I started looking for is, that's correct, Courtney. It is in a different dimension. Absolutely. What I started looking for were the vocal patterns on these EVP captures. So the EVP I would capture, I would put them in, I use Adobe Audition, and I would put them in the spectral view in there. And you can see a human vocal print is almost looks like a fossil. It's very, you can see the vibrations. You can see the attachments to it. A spirit vocal print is a blotch. It has no vibration, yet it's just as vocal, some of them, as a human vocal print. And that's the only way I could decipher the two, because it becomes so confusing. You don't know, is this spirit talking, using my voice to communicate, or and I don't want to blow anybody's mind here, is this someone else in a different dimension talking to me that's not even dead? There's also reports of that, of the living from a different dimension crossing through and being captured on our devices. I don't know. That's a big rabbit hole for me to jump down. So I just kind of look at it observe it. But there's just a lot to it.
Does Adobe, or not Adobe, but does Audacity have a graph?
Yeah, yeah,
Spectrogram.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have a spectrograph. Yep, right there.
Yep. Oh, that's see, I didn't know that. I haven't messed with this program in forever.
Yeah,
I use a Mac. I don't use PCs. I use Macs.
Oh, me too. Me too. I'm right there with you, brother. I quit the PC a while back.
Yes. Every time I fire up a PC, it gets, I don't know, it's goofy as all.
Yeah. My thing was a blue screen of death. I go to a Mac and everything just works. I'll take it. No, but it's really cool. The reverse. I'm so glad you brought that up, Todd, because it's important. And most people will skip that. And it's important information you can gather from that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if let's say somebody is doing this reversed and they're using Audacity and they say, hey, Todd, can you listen to this? Because you don't want to lead somebody by saying, hey,
sure.
It sounds like, say, can you listen to this? And then we can collaborate and see if this is what's really being said in the reverse form. But that gives you a chance to listen to it frontwards and backwards and be like, oh, wait, this could be possibly what it was, or this.
Yeah.
So that's like Courtney just said, learning together. And that is what the goal is.
Bingo.
The goal is for us to continuously learn. I'm no better than you are. You're no better than this person or that person, but you've been doing it a long time and you have ways of doing things that this person might not have thought of.
Correct.
So you're not trying to change the person at all. You're just trying to say, hey, this is how I did it. Try it that way. If you like it, then go for it.
Yeah, that's you just hit the nail on the head. My thing is simplicity. It's always been simplicity because I've struggled. When I've had two different investigation teams. One team had a ton of equipment. We had so much. It was insane. We didn't use half of it. And I did away with it because I went simplistic because there's a time and a place for each one of those devices. And I tried to step out of my shoes and step into the spirit shoes. If I was trying to communicate and there were all of these devices sitting all around me, I'm not going to say a freaking word. So if I simply say you can speak into this little box or that cassette recorder, that's one device. It may be even familiar to them. And it's less intimidating, and I feel I get more results that way.
Right.
Now, do I miss? And, now, again, a client investigation, that's just your average recording session. Now, a client investigation, like I said, that's night and day. You need baseline readings. You need to square that area away before you do much of anything. So, yeah, that equipment is needed during a client investigation. I'm not actively doing client investigations at the moment, and getting back into the recording field, kind of getting my feet wet again, learning this new equipment and seeing how it can merge with the old. And, at the end of the day, the object is communication, right? Just making communication. Yes, Frank Sumption right there. Oh, my goodness. Frank's box. That was probably as close to Edison's phone of the dead as you could get. Frank's box. And, he put a lot of work into that. And those things are, Radiva played with those, with the crystal diodes back in the day as well. Similar concepts to them. But the way it's evolving I see it evolving too quickly. I see it moving. It's moving. Oh my goodness, is it moving? But it's moving too quickly, and we're not stopping to figure out we're missing data. We're
Yeah.
missing. We have patches in our history, and we can't expect to move forward until we patch up what has happened back there. We either come to a conclusion and say, okay, analog EVP recording just isn't it, but we haven't found enough evidence for it. We're going to close that one down and move into this. No, we haven't figured it out yet. We don't know if it's static electricity. We don't know if it's magnetism. We don't know what it is. We don't know if it's something in the air. We have no clue. But we're advancing so quickly, I'm afraid we're not going to have a clue because we're not taking time to stop, analyze the data, go through it, categorize it, collaborate, present. We can't do that right now. We need to stop worrying about film crews and likes, and we need to focus on why we're here. First and foremost, why we're here. Because we're curious about life after death. That is our main concern. We have a curiosity. We have to take this to the next level. Instead of leaving it in the dirt, we have to show this new generation of paranormal researchers that are coming in that there are other ways than just this way. There's this way, and then there's this way. So there's no right or wrong way. There's just a way to communicate, especially. That's all I can speak for. I mean, it's sad to see some of it. It's sad to see great people, veterans, that have left the community because of what it became. They're missed. Their knowledge was insanely great. It was very, very useful in the community, but they're done with the community now. And me personally, I'll go on a hiatus. I went on a hiatus for 3 years. It happens. This community will consume you if you allow it.
Yes.
And it did. I had to step away for a while. There's a lot of drama with this stuff, and you're going to have drama with people. I get it. It goes hand in hand. It just goes hand in hand. But when you're in the field, when you're doing your research, when you are with your team, that is your number one priority. Should be. Not, hey, is anybody across the street watching us? Are they filming us yet? Do we have 50,000 likes on our live now that we just put of us standing across the street from Waverly Hills? It's not about that. It's about going into Waverly and understanding why the damn thing is so active.
Yes.
They're missing the point, Todd. And we're missing the point. As a community, we're missing a point. When one person hits a bump, we all feel it.
Right.
I mean, we're all riding in the same car. We all feel it,
I think a lot of it is also it's blind believing. And I hate to use the word blind believing, but I believe that is what it is. You have, Zach and all these other people, these paracelebs,
Yeah.
and what they say goes. That's, well, if Zach said that, that knock on the wall is a ghost, then that's what it is. Yeah, it could be a mouse on the other side of the wall too, but Zach says it's a demon, so that's exactly what it's going to
be. and that's, shame on people for that. And I'll say that. Shame on you for that, for watching these damn TV shows and thinking that's verbatim how it's supposed to be. Right. No, they did that investigation in about an hour. Okay. Or they may have done it in a 14-hour span, but it's been edited down.
Yes.
And the reason it's been edited down is to place ads within. The reason to place the ads within are to keep you sitting on the couch. That's what those shows are about.
Right.
Entertainment. It's just simply entertainment. Good concepts, understandable concepts, but don't take them verbatim. Don't. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Do you remember the movie when it came out with Michael Keaton called White Noise, Todd?
Oh, yes. I
You
love
remember
that.
that?
That was a good movie.
It was an amazing movie.
Yes.
To go watch. When I went, there were people sitting there with notepads. And they got a completely wrong idea of the movie. They were taking things verbatim. A lot of these things are designed to entertain you. The films, the TV shows. I mean, it's a fun place to be. I get it. You're at a haunted location. You feel their adrenaline while they're there, and you do, because they make it exciting.
Yes.
Some of these shows. But understand that the odds of excitement, they're up and down like a roller coaster. You're sitting there for most of the time in your own head, which is where you don't want to be because you're so bored. There's a lot of boredom when it comes to these investigations, but yet there's so much more. It's and it takes a long time to go over your data. It does. There's a time and a place for so many things in this community. And I love this community with all my heart. I truly do. I always have, always will. Because it's not the community that really has a problem. It's just some of the people in it. And it'll balance out just like it did in the past. I've seen this before. When the TV shows first came out, it was a complete divide. Well, they're dwindling down, and people are starting to converge a little bit. We're starting to come together because I'm seeing it. I mean, I'm seeing it in the group. I'm seeing it on social media. People are starting to share again. They're starting to participate. And I enjoy seeing that. And one of the biggest problems, I think, in the community, other than scams and things of that nature, are the bullies, the naysayers. There's a lot of them, especially in the EVP field, and some will call themselves skeptics. They're not. They're just bullies. There's a difference. So you just have to take everything that's said with a grain of salt, because some of these people, especially on YouTube's known for their bullies. I mean, they have a lot of bullies there.
Yes.
And naysayers. Don't let the trolls bother you in this field. If you put up an EVP, if you share that, let's say, you upload it to social media through YouTube or something, and you're genuinely looking for someone's advice, someone's opinion on what it may say, that video should be respected and honored, because someone is asking for help on something they captured and they want clarification on what it is. A bully's going to get on there and just nitpick. That's not going to help anybody. So if you're new to this field and you do something like that, and you get one of these naysayers or naggers or trolls, don't let them bother you. Trust me, I get hit with them all the time. And you just let them slide. Don't acknowledge them. Don't screenshot their message. Don't give them any power. Just ignore them. I know, the body wants to tense up and go, but wait a minute, you called me a He's calling himself that or herself that. That's all that is. Don't let it bother you. This field can be tough. And it's kicked me out of a lot of places, Todd. It really has. But it's a safe place. I think it's safe enough for us to discuss what we're discussing, because it's not easy talking about death. Damn it. That's nothing easy. It's still very awkward to discuss.
Absolutely.
And it's just a passion. It's a huge passion, and I love the people in this community. And it's sad to see what it's come to, but I think it's going to be okay. And it's all going to do what it's supposed to do when it's supposed to do it. I think it'll come together quite quickly, hopefully.
As long as they keep the open-minded, the older people are the ones that are gonna keep embracing this and trying to help others, because we know what it's like. We've been through everything, and all we're trying to do is just find answers to our questions.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. And I can tell you with 100% certainty that if I give you an EVP and say, hey, look, this is where I got it, this is the time, this is what I used, it very well might not be an EVP. And I might be going, oh, snap. Maybe it was my stomach growling and I did not even notice it.
Yep.
So, and now I'm thinking, well, there's a demon in there. You can hear it. And my stomach was like, yeah, that's right.
The Taco Bell demon.
Yes. So, and it's like these apps. I try to tell everybody when they're using an app, this one here is the Hope Spirit Box app. I'll let you hear it real quick.
Yeah.
Let me see. I got my phone on vibrate. So anybody don't call my phone, okay?
Hold all my calls.
Right. Hey, is there anybody here with us? Let's try it again. Anybody here with us? Am I still on the
Do not disturb or something?
I might be. Silent mode off. There we go. If there's anybody here with us who want to say something to Todd or myself, go for it. Basically, you're going to hear gibberish on this. Anyone want to say anything?
Yeah, these things are so cool.
But when it does come through, it does come through. So I recommend the Hope Spirit Box. I also recommend another one. It is called Ghost Tube.
Ghost Tube.
Yes. Is anybody here with us? Is there anyone here that would like to say something to Todd?
Whoa.
Does anybody want to say something to Todd? Ask the question. Did you just say Todd? I actually kind of
said it sounded like a British accent is what it sounded like, Todd. That's incredible.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. But another very cool.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is definitely ITC.
Yes. Oh,
This
sure.
is if you already know the answers to questions or history, you're just looking for the validation.
Yes.
So if it can give you the validation, then it's perfect.
That's and how convenient is that to have it right there on your hip, just like that. I
Yes.
mean, don't get me wrong, I love my cassette recorder, but the thing's heavy as hell. It weighs 20 pounds probably. I mean, it's huge. Having that, and let's say you're out and about because you don't carry your equipment everywhere with you. You
Exactly.
come upon a situation, you have your smartphone with you, and you have a couple of apps that you can trust on there. Use them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Communicate. My goodness, communicate. Practice your questions. See what kind of responses you're getting. Try changing your tone. Try changing your whole mind, the way you open it, the way you're opening it, the way you're closing it. Try different things. Different situations have different vibes. Go with the vibe of the room. Go with the flow. Have
Absolutely.
fun.
Yes. I mean, I think you had said it perfectly that if you communicate softly, uh, don't yell and scream. Some people like to provoke. I think that you get more bees with honey than you do.
Hmm.
So if you ask the question, uh, ask something in a nice, calm voice, because no one wants to be yelled at. That's when I would be like, if I was a ghost, be like, nope, I'm not
Yeah.
answering you at all. I'm just because most of the time people know
Yes.
the spirits, they will they will come to you and give you a message if that's what they want. It's not just
Exactly.
Yes, it's not just gonna be, everybody's getting a message. It's if they feel that you're worth having that message. So trust is gonna be a big thing.
Huge thing. And a lot of these experiences, I think they're personal. That's why not everybody has them. You
Yes.
know, whether it be an EVP you capture, an apparition you see, a UFO sighting, maybe you've been abducted. You were supposed to have that experience. That's your personal experience. And it's hard, very, very difficult to tell somebody else that experience.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people keep that in. And it's nice to have a safe place like this paranormal community where we can talk about things like that and people don't think we're crazy.
Right.
It's an asset.
And
But those
that's what's great about people like you as well, Todd. Your uh your group that you have, that is a safe spot.
yeah.
Paranomaly is a safe spot. If you come on there, there will be no arguing about anything. If you have a question, you ask that question, and people will answer you intelligently and correctly. There's
Mhm.
not going to be no bullies. It's just how it is. We want you there to learn. So it's just like your group. People are coming there. They're asking questions. They want to know what kind of recorders work better. Which, in
Yeah.
my opinion, I think that tape works better than. But that's
I
just
think
my opinion.
I think we'd win, Todd. I think we'd win.
I think so. Yeah,
There
that's
may be 3 or 4 of us out there, but
have I
I
gotten
don't know.
good stuff with digital? I have. I have.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it seems like because they put everything, these noise cancellation stuff and all this, it takes away from it is what I believe.
Yeah,
Because
it
now it's
does.
it's not giving you the whole thing like this Zoom recorder. You set this in the middle of a room and you pick up everything. This is a bad.
You can hear the dust rolling across the floor on one
You
of those things.
You can.
They are super sensitive, but wonderful.
Yes.
I mean, they're, to me, a recorder of that capacity is not only good for potentially capturing EVP, but for helping validate the entire room. You know, if you're
Yes.
sitting there and you're using two different recorders and you have something as sensitive as that, plus you have your session recorder, that recorder may pick up that stomach growl that now sounds like a stomach growl on the sensitive recorder because it's got a heightened sensitivity to it. So you could rule that out as a false positive, see. And
Yes.
you could use it. It has multiple functions, but it's the way technology has advanced, the way the equipment is advanced. It's crazy. Yes. And Courtney, real quick, if I could ask you a question. How do you think when you heard your voice, do you think the spirit used your voice to communicate? Is that why you heard your voice? Because that has baffled me. I mean, have you ever captured one, Todd, where it said your name and it sounded like you?
I have heard my name, but never really paid attention that if it sounded like me, though. So
It's so strange. It's a real strange phenomenon. I've talked to quite a few people that have had it, to where, let's say, they'll capture an EVP, but it's their voice and they didn't say it.
right.
So and that's where I brought in the theory from earlier, is that one of us from a dimension away or an alternate universe, what have you. Because so many people have captured those voices in their own voice, and it could be the spirit maybe using the vibrations of our vocal cords to communicate and imprint themselves. I don't know, but it's pretty impressive to come across with those. They're they're one of a kind.
Well, perhaps it's actually you talking to yourself, but from another time period.
Yep.
I can't remember what that's called. Boy, can't remember what it's called. But yes, you could be. Is it ancestral planing or something like that? Anyway,
Oh, the astral.
it's like it's ancestral planing. I believe.
Ancestral planing.
I could be wrong, but it has something to do with your ancestors, and it is very, very possible that you could be talking to yourself at some point.
Yes, and that I couldn't agree more. That's the beauty of it. Is
Yes.
I think like I said at the beginning of the show, it's so simple, and we're missing it. We're complicating it.
Yes.
Oh, okay, Courtney. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have to talk about that later. That's pretty wild.
That is, yes.
But it's so strange with the voice. I mean, we have this thin veil. It's just right here. Some theories believe that we have this thin veil, and it has its moments as the gravitational pull, everything, all nature's elements, all natural elements seem to play a part in communication. Not only communication, but also manifestation and in seeing these apparitions. It's all environmental, it seems like. It really does. It seems like they must consist of some kind of natural element, like a battery current kind of element, something with that kind of juice, maybe more powerful, maybe static based. I don't think they have a mass to them. I really don't. I think it's just pure energy. They just become all, and they can be everywhere at once, maybe, and how they slip into our devices and how they slip onto these tape recordings or digital recordings, it blows my tiny mind, because if they're floating around like so in a global space, a universal space, don't you think we would have mixed languages in our recordings? Yeah,
Some you do.
you know, sometimes you'll get your German
Yes.
recording. You'll get and a lot of that is missed, I'm afraid, and people think it's a false positive because they can't speak that language, or they didn't notice that it was even in a different language
Yes.
to be analyzed. So those are little key things that we have to look out for. It's not always going to be in English.
Yes. And that's so fascinating that you say that, because I have had locations that I heard gibberish on the recording and then found out it was Dutch, Pennsylvania
Wow.
Dutch. And I'm like, are you serious? This is actually this is saying something. And they're like, yeah. And they told me exactly what it was saying, because they knew that language. And I was blown away. I'm like, oh my.
That's incredible.
I'm like,
See?
yes. And I heard people, they'll get that same thing with like Native American Indians out in Arizona and things like that. And I'm like, wow. So how do we know that we're not actually communicating with, for example, a gray or a reptilian? Or, I mean, we just wouldn't know what that sound is.
Yep.
So
We would bypass it. And, speaking of Sarah, she tried that several times. She has several on her reel to reel. I know she captured alien beings that she talked to.
yes.
Who's to say? Absolutely. I mean, a lot of things I feel are interdimensional. They're able to come and go as they please. You
Yes.
have different planes of existence out there. I mean, I don't want to get into quantum mechanics or any kind of string theory or anything like that, but you have levels, I feel. And the farther away the levels, the weaker the entity or spirit may be. And the ones that have recently passed, maybe they're closer to us. Maybe they're farther away from us. Who knows? Maybe that's why it's harder to communicate with them, because they're farther away. But I think there's some kind of level system, some kind of organized system over there that distances them from us, because we can't intermingle together, of course, but sometimes we do.
Right.
And, sometimes we do. And it's those moments you have to grab onto. And a lot of times they're fight or flight, and that's hey, Jake. And that's where you have to make that decision. Is this field right for me? Is this hobby right for me? Because I try and keep it as a hobby. I used to do it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't miss those days. But keeping it as a hobby is safe. It's something, you can handle, you can deal with, you can, for the most part. And I can't stress enough, Todd, just not to give up, because it's frustrating. There's so much hard work involved with it, but yeah, don't give up. My goodness, just keep trying with it, and it gets better and easier each time.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's what
Yep.
we're going to continue seeing. We're going to continue seeing the paranormal field. It is in the right direction, but it's just so it's divided right now. So
Very.
hopefully everybody starts to come back to at least the basics, get to the basics and then branch out again, because really you can only go so far in the paranormal before you hit a brick wall, and that's it.
Yes, sir.
And people are like, well, Todd, how does that work? You can continue. No, you can't, because unless God kills us all right now, takes us to the other side, shows us what's there, and then resurrects every one of us, and we have that knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
then we'll know.
Yeah.
Until there, we're just guessing. Everybody's
Yeah.
guessing, and that is all it is. So when this person says, well, this is 100% verifiable proof. Well, first, how are you coming up with 100% verifiable proof?
Run.
How did you verify this? You know? And sometimes that gets me in trouble. People be like, well, Todd, you don't believe. No, I do believe. I don't blindly believe.
Bingo.
If you give me enough data, I will believe anything, you know, as long as it makes sense. And a lot of people don't want, they don't want the truth, because what they believe is the truth. And if others believe that, then that is their truth. So, I mean, that's two sides to the coin. And unfortunately, in this type of field, there's only science base. I mean,
unfortunately, yeah.
Where does those voices come from? That's what the main, and until we can 100% verify that, then we would all have to die, go to the other side, and then come back.
That'll take a minute.
That's right. Yes. I mean, it's like aliens, you know, is aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, cryptids, are they all on interdimensional where they can come and go as they please? People that see Bigfoot, for example, they're scared to death. They've seen something, they know they've seen it, but where did he go? I think that what had happened was, you're out in the woods walking, doing your thing. Bigfoot's out there doing his thing. You see each other, but he's got one thing he can do, and that is step into another dimension while you're still going, did I really just see that?
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, well said. That's a key point. And a lot of people don't understand that. And that goes, you know, Bigfoot, that goes as far as the paranormal as well, of course. Yeah. When you witness your first apparition or something of that nature, you're going to question that. Did I take my meds this morning? You know, you're going to question your sanity for a while.
That's right.
But it's how you see it. It's how you know that it's genuine. Normally, an apparition sighting, they're going to be missing some parts. They may have a bottom half, just the top half. Normally, there's no eye contact. Normally, it's a residual encounter, and it's just a playback. So they're not necessarily looking at you. They're just playing the scene there in front of you. So you just have to you have to go with your gut on a lot of these things, Todd. I mean, you just have to use what you can of common sense. Sometimes even that doesn't make sense. And you just kind of go with the flow the best you can, and go with that gut feeling. When you walk into a client's home, for example, do you feel the tension? Do you feel anything that they have told you on the phone, perhaps? Do you feel not wanted? Do you feel ill? Anything like that? If you do, that's usually a sign you're not wanted. You know, try to wiggle out of there for a minute and regroup. Try a different, maybe somebody on the team just had an argument with their spouse, and you bring that with you. Well, negative's going to bring on negative in any investigation. I think it's going to bring on negative. So just keep that person at home, or you know, have them sit it out. That's probably going to be your best bet to get, because, you know, the end of the day, you want your client comes first, of course. But if you're doing this as a team practice or a team drill or a team building exercise or what have you, just to train yourself in the investigation, be aware of your surroundings. I mean, I can't stress that enough, is going with your gut feeling, because it tells you so much. And I'm not saying uh, go out there, you're a psychic, you're an empath, what have you. Usually your gut's not going to steer you wrong. If it feels raw and it feels weird, you may want to get out of there for a while. Don't push it, because that spirit's going to win. At the end of the day, that spirit's going to win.
Yes.
Be careful. Just be careful.
And that's going into a place, utilizing all your senses. You can go in, you can get those goosebumps. You can start feeling sick or nauseated. You can use these things, mark down on a piece of paper what time it is, why you felt, you felt dizzy, you felt really bad,
Yeah.
or maybe you had an overwhelming feeling of sorrow or something. Write these things down, because spirits, if you walk through one, and I know I've walked through quite a few in my time period with paranormal investigating, and it's an electrical feeling is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
To walk right through one, I mean, I've had mel meters in my hand, walked right through, got the lights, just wow, it was incredible. And I was like, what just happened? And we had a guy, he was an empath. He was saying, you're almost to it. You're almost to it. It's right there. It's right in front of you. And whatever I did, I turned, I moved, and we collided. And that was validation for me. Was it really? I don't know. But I mean, it was validation enough for me. All the lights went off. The battery died directly after that. So yes, it can be an incredible field to be in if you have the right people.
Mhm.
I would think, Todd, that any person you have on a team, they would be, because once you guys all feel the same and you're all on the same wavelength, then everything that happens is just, now it's just validation. So
Bingo. Yep. Consistency. A lot of it comes down to being consistent, being disciplined, you know, I'm not saying just because you wear a team t-shirt or a polo shirt that you need to be screened, you need to be watched. Absolutely not. Because I mean, I have t-shirts, polo shirts, vests that I wear with the team name on them and things, because you're representing the team, of course. That's your team. That's your logo. That's who you are. And it's choosing your team members, of course. You all want to be able to click. It's important that you guys can all communicate. Communication is key when it comes to a team. And you all have to click. If you have any like little beefs or little crankiness in the past, sometimes that surfaces, and you need to address all those things, because you want the team, while the team is there, and I don't recommend any more than 5 or so, but while the team is there, you all want to have that open mind that, hey, here we are. I'm going to stay open to whatever my senses decide to pick up. And if you have someone that constantly has to speak and can't remain silent, you don't want that person at your EVP session,
no,
because they're not going to have the patience. And there's nothing wrong with that individual.
that's correct.
That's just not their suit. That's not their suit. You have to have patience to do that. You can't have really shaky, because I'm terrible with a camera. I'm all over the place. It's all shaky. It's not for me. Videography, same thing. It's not for me. This is different. So you need to find your niche, your little notch in there. Find it learn all you can about it, and get the hell out there and apply it. That's what's fun. That's what's interesting about this field, is unlearning what you've learned. So much can be learned. And just imagine if the more of us that unlearn it together, you know what I mean? I mean, it's the possibilities are endless because we have all this knowledge from all these years, all this experience, all these sightings. Yet we haven't made any breakthroughs. And that's why a lot of the science community won't take us seriously, because they think we're out there screwing it up. They're just waiting for us to come across something, is what's happening. They think we can just catch them in a jar. No, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
One day, something may come through that's unmistakable, and the world may crap their pants. We don't know. You know, the same thing with UFO disclosure. The same thing.
Right.
You know, they may freak out over that. So it's you just don't know. Are we ready for it? You know,
Right.
if that answer is out there, Todd, are we ready for that answer? That's the
You know, I think most of us would be ready. The only reason I say this is religion has a lot to do with it. Religion, you know, there's God, and God created man of his own image, and there's, you know, nothing else out there. When you're dead, and things like that. But
Mhm.
if you get out of that thought process, or even if you are a religious person, read like the book of Enoch, and it tells you about giants, and it tells you about, you know, watchers, and all these things. That this book was taken from the Bible, was taken out, so that because the book is by man, and they
Yeah, yeah.
and there's a specific reason. It's like Adam and Lilith. Why only Lilith's name is mentioned in the Bible one time? It's because I feel that they forgot to erase that one, because it was Adam and Lilith before it was Adam and Eve.
Hmm.
And it was a disaster, because Lilith would not bow down to Adam. So she wasn't created with the rib of Adam. So he called God. God cast her out, made Eve with Adam's rib, so that she was part of Adam and she had to do what he said. And that's kind of the typical thing in the Bible, is the man is in charge, the woman is nothing. And I think it's unfair.
Very, very unfair. I mean, it there's much room for expansion. I know that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because it shouldn't be about it, in this field. I can speak for this field, I guess. There shouldn't be any competition with men or men or women.
No.
There shouldn't be, because what I've found is I have captured, like we talked about before, bees with honey versus vinegar. Sometimes when a female asks the questions, I've seen a larger response.
Mhm.
And that's because they have a more natural motherly tone, I believe, to them. And that's just wired in DNA. Just like we have that natural disciplinary tone in a male.
Yes.
So it's preference, perspective, however you want to look at it. But as far as the two in the community, no separation. Oh my goodness. There's I know more female investigators that would stand in place during a sighting than many males.
Oh,
So-
yes. Absolutely.
because it's wired into them. it's wired into them like it's wired into us. I mean, and it's not a separation thing. It's not a male versus female kind of thing. It's a unity, is what it is. I mean,
Yes.
we're all just trying to communicate or just trying to figure out the next step.
Exactly. Now this is the clip that I had with the Ovilus. Now we all know that the Ovilus is just a word bank. And why I really don't like word banks is because they are random. They spit out random things. So knowing the history of something, uh, knowing about it, and then using this tool as a validation device, that is what should be done. But most people, they hear a word from it and they're like, oh, that was a ghost. So, but that's not what happened in this case. I went to this lake where something happened, and I just used it as validation. Very short clip. So,
Okay, I'm gonna do a session right now. I'm gonna record this, see if I can pick anything up. Can you tell me your name? Are you alive or dead? I just tagged that right there. I just moved the recorder. Can you tell me if anything happened to you?
Mm.
Can you say that again?
Damn.
Can you tell me where it happened?
Lake.
Did you say lake?
Drown.
Can you tell me what happened in the lake?
Kill.
Did somebody do that to you? Did somebody make you drown?
Upper. Away.
Can you tell me anything else?
Upper.
Thank you.
Get.
Oh, dude, that's
and it's funny because I thought that I heard it say
That's pretty incredible. That's pretty damn incredible because, like you said, that thing throws words out at random.
Yes.
Not that time. That was a response. That was a
Yes.
real-time response right there. I mean, that's why I love this field is you can't, there's no absolutes. I don't know why, that machine, they're able to manipulate it, find these words, put them out there, and it makes sense. Why haven't we advanced further?
That's a good question. I mean, can we?
What?
I mean,
Yeah. What's the holdup? What's the holdup? I guess. What is? I think we're, like I said, we're overcomplicating it somehow
yes.
because that particular session, which was well done, by the way, you were calm. It was very well done. And I think that's why you got those responses. It was almost as if he's saying, hey, look, I got murdered here. Help me out. I'm upset about it. And I heard upset at the end. that he was upset, and he's probably unsettled. He probably just wants to rest in peace, and you may have helped him do so. It's the little things.
Yes, it is. So Todd, we don't have much time left. So I want to go over this the haunted voice.
Oh, sure.
What was the inspiration for this book?
I had been carrying around a lot of baggage with me for several years about something that happened personally back in the day. I used to be a correctional officer and ended up on the other side of the bars myself. So I've been on both sides. And I had kept that in for so long. And for me, writing about it was pure therapy, absolute pure therapy and closure. So it kind of goes into that. It's an mini autobiography. It's supposed to be a 3-part series. I'm almost done with the second book of the transition, my journey, as far as going from corrections to paranormal. It's just such a twisty turn. The book's a little roller coaster. It talks about my youth a little bit. It talks about getting into the paranormal, what grabbed me, what certain things I used in the field. Some stories are in there, of course, and then it ends with a chapter for Sherry, of course. The woman saved me in every way. So it ends with the final chapter of meeting her and how I evolved from there. And like I said, it's part book 1 of a 3-part series. And it's only like $15 if you want a copy of it. Signed copies, you can send me an email, toddbates@gmail.com, and I can get you a signed copy of it. But there's something in the book for everybody, especially if you suffer from alcoholism or addiction for that matter. This book may help you out, may set you in the right direction. It talks about my rock bottom, so you don't have to go through it yourself, mostly. So that's the beauty of that book. It was great therapy, Todd. It really was. It was very freeing for me to write that. And it talks about the transition of skepticism into the paranormal. So it's got a little bit of everything in there.
Yeah, it's definitely a good book. In fact, I had got this book from you. There was some kind of a thing, and you was like, hey, whoever, if it was a number or what have you.
Oh, a contest? Yeah, I remember those.
And
yeah.
And inside it says, Todd, congratulations, enjoy the read, never give up. It's right there.
Wow, I remember that.
Got the signed copy. I read the book. I was
Yes.
like, I like this guy. So, and I followed you ever since. So.
Oh, thank you so much. I remember that. And it's awesome to just to have that connection, Todd, just to have that connection out there, to have somebody.
Yes. Yes. And it was good. I was so happy that I won that. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Cause that's EVPs. It's a big passion of mine too. I love it. I just, where'd the voice come from is my thing that I hear all the time. And if I do hear one, like out in the distance, I'll hear something, whether I'm sitting here watching TV and I'm like, what? Did you just hear that?
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
And then I'm like, oh, I don't have nothing to record. So I grab my phone and I'll whip out one of those apps and I'll start asking questions. So, and most of them, like the Hope Spirit Box, the Ghost Tube Vox, they both have recorders so you can record your session. So
That's really cool. That's a nice feature.
yes, that way you don't miss nothing, because
No.
I've had voices that we've heard. I started asking questions and I have gotten the Keepers. I said, "Who are you?" And I heard the Keepers. I'm like, the Keepers? The Keepers of what? Or of who?
Love that. Yes. And I love those little things. I mean, I just real quick, I had an experience for that on the Queen Mary. It was right by when I was walking down the hallway back to my room. In my ear, it's like what in the world was that? And no one's there. No one's around. And it was right there in my ear. So tell me there's nothing like that. No, not anymore. I believe in that. No way.
I'm going to have to start doing sessions and putting them on your group page.
Yeah.
Just see what we get.
Yeah. Let's get together and do something like that'd be fun, Todd.
Heck yeah. I'm for
That'd be
it.
a lot of fun. We can do something like that.
I used to do spirit box sessions. I would get the spirit box out and say, hey, if someone wants me to ask the question, let's do it together. And that's what we would do. And we would get some pretty cool stuff. So we'll have to do that sometime.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Well, Todd, if people want to reach out to you and they got questions, where do they got to go?
Real simple. The best way to get a hold of me is through email. One of them is toddbates@gmail.com. That's simple. First name, last name @gmail.com. EVPexplorations.com. You can find me on social media under Todd Bates 1973 or EVP Explorations. Website's under construction. That's going to be coming up here soon. It's going to have some real good stuff on there. Oh my goodness, it's going to be fun. So that's coming soon. But just get a hold of me. Email, social media, whatever. We can exchange numbers. If you have any questions, we can talk. I like doing training sessions with people as well, like video like this, Todd. However you want to get in touch with me, just make it happen. Let's connect.
Yes, for sure. And you're doing a podcast as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every podcast.
Every Friday night. It's called EVP Explorations.
Okay.
It's every Friday night at 8 p.m. over on the Sacred Spiral Network, and it's on Facebook and YouTube as well. It's a lot of fun. We just teach the fundamentals, the basics of electronic voice phenomenon, the capture. Coming up next week, we've got Michael Laciana. We're going to talk old EVP equipment and some methods. We're going to get into those next week, January 10th.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I have my notifications set. I think you have 2 coming up that are scheduled. So I have those coming up.
Yours does it too. I love those things. The reactions you get, see the confetti.
I'm like, wait, did I just
you just did it. And if you do the 2 thumbs up, you get fireworks. Yeah, it's a fun stuff like that.
All right. Well, Todd, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I had a blast and I learned so much. I hope our audience did as well. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for coming on, liking and commenting and having a good time with us. That's what our show is all about. We want everybody to have a good time, ask questions. And, I know this wasn't a UFO show, but sometimes we need to go through the paranormal and metaphysical and all that good stuff. So, Todd, I thank you so much. And, I hope to have you on again for sure.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. It's been great. You're a great host, Todd. Amazing host. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. Bye-bye now. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow to receive notifications when new content is made available. A Paranomaly Beyond Disclosure is looking to talk with ufologists, researchers, investigators, contactees, abductees, channelers, and more for upcoming shows. Or if you have stories, photos, videos, questions, suggestions, or comments, please contact us through Messenger or email us at paranormallypodcast@gmail.com. And you can also visit us at paranormallypodcast.com for more content and information, including all our social links. I thank you again for watching or listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode of Paranormally Beyond Disclosure.